bit loud, hold on. Sorry, love, sorry. Folks, thanks very much for turning out tonight again. I know you folk have been an example to most days. We've been out up in Cumber, Newtonards, Ballygowan, up around our part of the world, but we've not been out as often as yous, much to our shame. So when I get back to my own district, I'll be telling them that we need to step up our game a wee bit and try and follow the lead set by the people from up here. I'd like to thank some of the organisers for asking us up here tonight, and I just hope that some of the rubbish that people write saying, what's he doing up here, he's not right. Well, let me just tell folk, I lived up here. When I first moved over from Scotland, I lived here. I had a house in Bracken Street, which is no longer there, just up the road there. I also lived for a wee while in the Crum on several occasions, back in the bad old days, and I lived in Brown Street as well. So I've got every right to be up here, because I'm a Protestant, I'm a Unionist, and I'm a Loyalist. Full stop. Now, you'll hear a load of rubbish after the night. Dowson's up at Shankill, what's he doing up there? He's BNP, he's NF, he's this, that and the next thing. Let me tell you this, I worked for the BNP, I run a marketing company, we worked for them. Done a contract, get rid of them, end of story, that's it. We work for other political parties as well. And we'd work for anybody apart from DUP, Sinn Féin. There's quite a list nowadays I don't think we'd work for. But that's what I do for a living. And I seen the night on some of the blogs the guy was saying he's only getting up there because he's getting paid. So I hope somebody's got a big giant cheque ready for when I get up the road, because I'm running an empty. Utter rubbish, utter garbage. I don't get paid, Willie Fraser doesn't get paid, we Jamie Bryson doesn't get paid, nobody gets paid. We're here because we're loyalists. We're here because we're utterly fed up with the treatment our political representatives have handed out to us. And we're here as well because we're fed up of this protest being hijacked by some more unruly elements. Now, I'm going to qualify that. You know, we were all young once, and I understand that a lot of your young people, and let me tell you, I'm very proud of a lot of your young people for turning out every night, rain, hail or shine. And it's good to see, and you know, I deal with a lot of Republicans on the web as well, and they're moving on with good jobs and fancy housing and all the rest of it, and they think unionism's beat because our flag's doing weird beat. We'll never be beat. All that flag's done is radicalised a fresh generation of young loyalists, and they want to go out in the street and do what their father's done. But I'm going to tell you, don't make the same mistakes as we made. Don't be drawn into it. The politicians up in Stormont, the DUP, the UUP and all the rest of them, they want to turn this protest sectarian. That's why the coppers are rerouting us around the Strand. You know, if you're a nationalist living in the Strand, you wouldn't be too happy to look at your window and there's 2,000 loyalists wandering by your garden. That's why they're doing it, folks. It's the same old story. They beat the drum. Oh, the papes are coming to get us. Quick, you'll need to vote DUP. You can't split the vote. Let me tell you something, I'd be happy to split the vote. Because could this place be any worse run under anybody else? I don't think so. No. And if it means we need to split the vote to get them kicked out of office, so be it. Yes. We'll rise again, folks. We're here. But they're terrified because they've let the genie out the bottle. They've lit a fire they can't control now. And who was it that lit the fire? The DUP put 40,000 leaflets out, stirring us all up before Christmas. Well, they have stirred us up. Now they want us to go back into our wee houses again and behave ourselves and keep quiet. Well, it's not going to work. The DUP are not going to saber rattle and get us to do their bidding. You know, half of my generation spent time in the Crum, the Maze. There's a lot of other fellas no longer with us anymore. Because these same politicians stirred us up when we were young men. And we were out and wrecked and teared and done all sorts of stuff. We don't want to go back there again. This fight can only be won politically, folks. So I'm going to say directly to the young men in the crowd who feel that they want to play a part and do what their father's done and their fathers before them. I salute you. I think you're great. But don't get involved in violence. Don't get involved in brick throwing, petrol bombing. I know it's hard sometimes, you're under provocation. And I know you want to do your bit. And I'm proud to stand with you any time and always will. And I'll never criticise you, regardless of what you do, publicly anyway. I'll criticise you privately. But I won't come on the television and criticise you in the world media. Because right or wrong, we are the people. We're one people, and I don't care what you do. I'll never, ever walk away from you. So just keep the head. Don't fall into the trap of getting violent and throwing things and wrecking and tearing. Keep it civil. I'm not going to say keep it legal, because this is illegal. But you know, when a law is unjust, a man has not only got the right, he's also got the duty, it's his moral duty, and a woman's, to stand against that law. And if that means breaking the law, if that means going to prison, so be it. I'm not asking the young people not to fight, I'm asking you to fight. But fight in a different way. And sometimes it takes a bigger man to take a blow. You know, and this fight will be won by how much we can put up with, how much we can suffer, rather than how much suffering we can inflict on others. You know, keep on the streets, encourage one another. Don't allow web warriors to sow discord. Because one thing I did learn when I was working for the BNP in England, when they were getting popular and winning votes, one thing I did learn, there's organisations like Hope Not Hate, Searchlight and other left-wing organisations who are paid big money by the trade union movement in England, and they actually employ people just to sit on the web. They actually pay people money to sit on the web all day, putting poison out, sowing discord, sowing disharmony, trying to cause division amongst our people. So don't fall for it. If you see anybody on a website or on a forum talking garbage about somebody, just tell them to be quiet and go away. Don't get into an argument with them, because that's what they're wanting. They want you to start arguing with them. Just tell them, look, I'm not debating this with you, go away. Once we see you in the street, once we see you standing with the people, then you got a right to open your mouth. If you're just a web warrior, shut up. End of story. Well, listen, folks, the whole situation in Ulster is very interesting. I was looking at some of the voting figures, and at the end of the day, the only way this is going to be won is in a ballot box. Now, I'll give you an example. Of East Belfast I was looking at. There's an MLA. MLAs can get in East Belfast with as few as 2,100 votes. Now, I'll tell you how you do this. You can get a thing called postal votes. The first thing is for everybody here, because under 30-year-old unionists, working class unionists, 90% don't vote. 90% of working class Protestant unionists do not vote. Can you imagine the power you're sitting on? You're sitting on a massive, massive volcano of political power if you just use it. So go back to East Belfast scenario. You can be an MLA over there for 2,100 votes. If 100 people got together tonight in a local community centre or Heather Street Club or whatever and said they would sign up 25 people to the postal votes and went away with the postal applications and got their family and friends and everybody signed up in that postal vote application, see the next time the election comes round, you put up one of your own community people, you're in, you're elected, you're an MLA. That's certainly the case in East. I haven't actually looked at the figures for up here, but I'm pretty sure we could do something in West and North Belfast. It's as simple as that. 100 people in the East getting 25 friends and family signed up, that's it. We have a flag protester in Stormont, and not only that, we have one of those useless politicians out on their backside, on the dole, like half the population is, and I think they deserve it, folks. Yes. So that's the way to do it. You know, start talking politically, start getting involved politically. You know, nobody would ever think you're missing the 12th. Nobody would ever think you're missing Remembrance Day. It's ingrained in us as loyalists, as Protestants, because we have that sense of duty and honour to our forefathers and those who have fought and died for this country. So start thinking that way about voting. You know, across that peace line and up there, young Republicans, young nationalists would cut their leg off. They would gnaw their own leg off rather than miss voting. And that's how they've beat us for 30 years. They couldn't bomb, they couldn't shoot, and they couldn't murder us into United Ireland. But they'll vote us into one. 90% of our people aren't voting, folks. We're beat. You'd as well just get up the road and forgetting about it. You need to get registered in the voters' roll, and you need to make sure the next time the elections comes around, you use that vote, and you use it effectively. And one of the ideas I come up with, I don't know what you think about it, why not organise the next time there's a local election here? And by the way, getting in as a councillor is dead easy. But why don't we, the next time there's an election in this area, why don't we organise a band and loyalist parade to the polling booth? Make sure all the young ones turn out, make sure they all get out on a nice day out, and we'll march and we'll parade every band in the Shankill district and every loyalist and every Protestant, doesn't matter how old or young you are, as long as you're on the voters' roll, we'll parade right down to the polling booth, and every one of us will march in there and put a cross down. Can you imagine that on the television, folks? Yep. Can you imagine the terror that would go through Peter Robinson's wee heart? Can you imagine the terror that would go through the Secretary of State and Cameron? Because for once they would see that loyalist Protestant people have got their act together and we're marching to the polling booth and we're taking that now as a sacred duty. I'll tell you something, they would absolutely have kittens, they wouldn't know what to hurt them. But you would win and you would get your own people in, and you need your own people in. And there's people in this crowd, young people, you need to step forward. I'm an old duffer now, I'm done and dusted, I've got 4 wains and 4 grand wains, but I'll do my best. But there's young, intelligent, articulate loyalists here. You know, people sometimes write off the Shankill and the Woodvale and say, ah, nothing up there. There's plenty up here, I lived up here. But there should be far more up here, folks. Do you know, recently I heard there a group of Americans that came over here to go and visit the Shinners. And they wanted to see around the slums of Belfast. Do you know the Shinners had to take them? Do you know the Shinners had to take these people? The Lower Shankill, Westlands, That's where they take people. Have you been to Falls lately? It's lovely. Most of it are Ardoyne, it's not too bad. Their side of Ardoyne's fine, you get to our side. Look at the state, it's a wasteland. They promised us houses, they knocked our houses down. They never built half the amount they're supposed to build. That's what we are putting up with day in, day out. Look at the state of Shankill Road. One time there was 80,000 people lived there. We had jobs, we had industry. It was never a wealthy area, but we had pride, because we'd work, we had jobs. What have we got now up here? Nothing. When was the last time you seen one of your politicians up here? Seriously, when was the last time you seen an elected representative come up here and talk to any of you people?
Never.
No, well, it's not good enough.
Lost elections.
And as long, the only time you see them, they want their elections. As long as they are safe in their elected representation roles and have their fat salaries and their expenses, they don't give two figs for you, me or anybody else up here. But see if they think we're getting our act together, see if they think we're radicalised. And we're not just going to get in the 12th and bang the drum, we're also going to turn out in May and we're going to vote in the local elections and we're going to vote en masse and we're going to parade to the voting station and we're going to make sure these people are out and our people are in. Until that happens, you can stand on the street all you want, nothing will change, nothing. We have got a huge potential here. People say Belfast City Council's lost. No, it's not. If half the Protestants turned out and voted, we would take Belfast City Hall back. So I'm asking you tonight, people, to go back, to think about it, to speak to your families and make a vow, make a sacred vow, just the same as you make a vow that you'd always fight for Ulster, you'd fight and die for Ulster, because I would, and I know everybody here would. Make sure you make a vow that you will never miss a voting day again. Turn out and vote. Even if you're only voting to get somebody out.
Who do you vote for, but?
Well, this is up to you. I can't tell you who to vote for.
No, we don't want the DUP.
That's the problem, love. Yous as a community, we need to get together. I'm not seeking political office. I don't like politics. I really don't like it. I'm not sleek enough, I'm not sneaky enough, I'm not two-faced enough. But we need to get rid of that. We need young people for your community to get together. We need some of the older heads to get together, to guide the young people, to sit them down and say, right, who's quite smart, who's got a good head on their shoulder, who won't be turned when the DUP slope on up to them and say, come on in with us, son. Because I tell you, we have got loyalists elected as independents before, and the minute they hit Stormont, the DUP take them out for a couple of drinks and a nice wee meal and speak nice to them and suck them into the DUP, and then they're neutralised. Use older people in the crowd need to be the guiding force and try and find some young people with sense, with some brains, and put them forward for political representation. Don't look to me, you know, I can help as much as I can, but you need to do this for yourself. You need to get your own people elected, and only then have you got a chance of starting getting investment in here, getting jobs in here, and getting respect for the Protestant, Unionist and Loyalist community. But keep this up, folks. I don't know if we're going to get this flag up anytime soon. I really don't know. But it's went beyond the flag issue now. It's way beyond the flag issue.
Ethnic cleansing.
It's cultural and ethnic war. The IRA don't shoot bombs anymore. But every single day they are absolutely and totally dedicated to eradicating every last vestige of Britishness from this island. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Even if there wasn't one single Union Jack left in the Holy Ulster flying, it's still British. Because in every one of your hearts is the Union Jack. Every one of us, if we've cut open, we're red, white and blue to the core. So you can take a flag down for the City Hall. You'll never get rid of us. Ulster will remain British now and forevermore, as long as people like you stand in the street and proclaim it so. God bless every one of you.